Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be discussing the do's and don'ts of natural acne treatment. When it comes to treating acne, there are a variety of different routes you can take. There's the use of medications and pharmaceuticals, dietary and lifestyle modifications, and the use of various topical treatments, both synthetic and naturally. And of course, with such a wide selection of treatment, there's going to naturally be some that are inferior to others, meaning that not everything that is generally recommended for the treatment of acne is effective or healthy for you. In fact, a lot of common recommendations for treating acne are not only not that effective in regards to actually addressing the root causes of acne, but can come with many negative side effects. So in this video, what I want to do is go through a list of do's and don'ts. In other words, a list of things that are going to be actually beneficial, effective, and safe, as well as natural, and then a list of commonly recommended things to do for treating acne that I would strongly avoid not doing. So really quick, before getting into our list of do's and don'ts for treating acne, let's just quickly cover some of the major underlying causes for the development of acne. So if you hop online, you're gonna see a variety of different types of acne, and therefore different causes and different treatments. However, the fact of the matter is that all acne has very similar underlying root causes, and the different types of acne are really just different progressions of acne. But the general causes of all sorts of acne is usually some sort of underlying hormonal imbalance, which shifts the production of sebum, which is oil that's produced by the skin gland, to overdrive. And this can lead to a more favorable environment for pathogens to grow, which can lead to inflammation and the development of acne. So really, acne is an inflammatory and bacterial related condition, but what tends to drive the inflammation and the overgrowth of bacteria in the skin is usually some sort of underlying hormonal imbalance. Now, conventional wisdom is going to say that it is androgens which cause the development of acne. So male hormones like testosterone, DHEA, etc. So although it's true that the overproduction of androgens can cause the sebum gland to produce too much sebum or skin oil, what people often overlook is the fact that it is usually high levels of estrogen and prolactin that increase the overproduction of the adrenal steroid hormones like DHEA to buffer the effects of the stressful estrogen and prolactin. So in other words, it's not necessarily high androgens that cause acne in of themselves. The untalked about cause for the elevated levels of adrenal steroids is usually high estrogen and high prolactin, which again increase to buffer the stressful effects of estrogen and prolactin. And this leads us into our list of do's and don'ts, starting off with the things I'd recommend not doing for treating acne. So one of the major things that people will do in an attempt to treat their acne is try to suppress their androgen hormone production. And although this might have a beneficial effect in reducing the development and the outbreaks of acne, if you are proactively suppressing your androgen hormone production, keep in mind that this is an adaptive response by your body in response to the high estrogen. And this is going to produce a couple major issues. First, if you are actively suppressing your androgen hormone production, you might very well interfere with the body's natural ability to produce androgens, which are more or less protective substances in the body. So you wouldn't want to intentionally decrease the production of the androgens in your body. This could lead to libido issues, sexual issues, fertility issues. It could also lead to issues of poor metabolic health because the androgens generally are required to produce things like thyroid hormone. So actively suppressing the androgens would not be a beneficial idea for your overall health. The second major issue with this route of treatment is that you're not addressing the underlying cause of the elevated androgens, which again is usually high estrogen and prolactin. Now, the second major thing I'd recommend not doing for treating acne, which applies mostly to women, which is actually standard medical practice nowadays, is taking contraceptive pills or birth control pills. So it is true that women who take birth control pills usually see that their acne starts to disappear over time. But the cause for this is not necessarily health promoting. You see, when estrogen is high enough, over time, the synthetic estrogen can actually atrophy the oil gland in the skin, so that way the skin is less likely to become overly oily, making it less likely for bacteria to proliferate and dwell within the skin tissue or the skin pores, causing inflammation, irritation, and acne. So the use of contraceptive pills or birth control for treating acne, I do not think is a safe route to take, because again, you're ultimately just atrophying your oil glands And this could down the line lead to chronically dry skin. Although you do not want overly oily skin, having somewhat oily skin will be protective and actually ensure that your skin has a moist, hydrated, and supple appearance. And again, you do not want to rid the body of sebum altogether. Not to mention that birth control pills come with a long list of negative side effects. As we've discussed many times in these videos, estrogen is a stressful substance. It can cause cellular stress, it can overstimulate the adrenal glands to produce cortisol, it can stimulate the production of prolactin, and it is generally associated with every disease state that you could think of. And there are studies that verify that the use of contraceptive pills or birth control pills, because of the synthetic estrogen in progestin, which is more or less an estrogenic substance, can dramatically increase the risk for things like breast cancer and other female-related reproductive cancers. So I would not recommend taking birth control pills in general, but especially for treating acne. There are safer and more natural and non-toxic ways of doing so. The third thing I'm going to recommend not doing for treating acne is taking Accutane. So if you're not familiar, Accutane is a medication that contains a high concentration of a synthetic vitamin A. And the problem with this is that although vitamin A from a natural retinol form in a small amount, in the right amounts, can be protective against acne, when you get a synthetic form of it in a high concentration, this can have many toxic effects in the body. For example, the synthetic form of vitamin A in Accutane tends to be mostly derived of the polyunsaturated fats, which, as we discussed in the last video, have many anti-thyroid effects. So Accutane can lead to hypothyroidism. That is one of the known side effects of it. Not to mention that there are clinical studies that verify that people who produce or reproduce a child while taking Accutane can actually have a dramatic increased risk for birth defects. So taking Accutane can dramatically throw off the reproductive system, the hormonal balance of the body, by mostly interfering with thyroid function and proper hormone production. And again, one of the more exaggerated or severe side effects of this is an increased risk of producing a child with severe birth defects. So I think that sort of summarizes and shows the possible dangers of taking Accutane. Not to mention there are plenty of others. There's tons of case studies. You can just hop online and see for yourself. So I wouldn't recommend the use of Accutane, nor taking high amounts of synthetic vitamin A for treating acne. The fourth and last thing I'm going to recommend that you do not do for treating acne is using synthetic topical treatments like acne spot treatments that contain things like benzoyl peroxide. The reason for this is pretty simple. Benzoyl peroxide can be incredibly drying and irritating to the skin, and the long-term or chronic use of it can lead to increased skin aging. So although it's going to be beneficial in the short term, it's going to be at the expense of your long-term skin health. And this is just one small example of the negative side effects or things that can go wrong by using synthetic, commercial, or conventional skincare products. A lot of the times, the commercial skincare products contain a variety of different synthetic chemicals that are known to be toxic, endocrine disruptors, or carcinogenic substances. So I usually recommend avoiding the use of commercial skincare products altogether because of the fact that there's so much research that has verified the estrogenic, toxic, inflammatory, and carcinogenic effects of the chemicals used in these things. I've researched and written about this stuff extensively in the past. And for anybody looking for a natural skincare line that contains only organic, non-toxic, truly natural and safe and effective skincare ingredients, I'm going to highly recommend that you look into Alitora Naturals. They are the creme de la creme of natural organic skincare. You're not going to find any synthetic products in there, and just a lot of very beneficial ingredients for the skin. And this leads us into some of the do's or things that I would recommend trying out for treating acne naturally. So going back to some of the true underlying causes or culprits for acne, remember that the major hormones that tend to cause the hormonal imbalances that lead to acne are estrogen and prolactin. And there's even studies that clarify that reducing the overproduction of these hormones, particularly prolactin, can be very therapeutic and effective for treating acne. So definitely be sure to watch this video on some herbs that are known to reduce the production of prolactin. In short, those herbs are mucuna pruriens, black ant, and ashwagandha, which can be very beneficial for treating acne, not just by lowering prolactin, but there's a lot of other beneficial components to these herbs that could be beneficial to correcting the hormonal imbalances that lead to skin issues. So definitely look into the use of those herbs and just generally learning how to lower the overproduction of prolactin, especially if you know you have high prolactin levels. But this is something else we talk about in our Forever Healthy Hair course, and there's tons of information, dietary, supplement-wise, herbal-wise, lifestyle-wise, for lowering elevated levels of prolactin, which would be beneficial for the skin as well. Keep in mind that the hair is just an extension of the scalp, which is skin. So usually anything that improves the health of the hair is often going to improve the health of the skin. The second thing I'm going to recommend is that you eat vitamin A rich foods from not plant sources, but animal sources. So although synthetic vitamin A, especially in high forms, can be toxic to the body, you do need vitamin A for the synthesis of various steroid hormones, especially progesterone, which accumulates in the skin and helps protect the skin and resist things like infection and inflammation. And the safest way to do this is to consume organic, natural foods that contain the retinol form of vitamin A. And these are foods like pastured egg yolks, grass-fed organic beef liver, and things like grass-fed butter and ghee. So these are all great sources of vitamin A, and you don't need much of them to get the required amount of vitamin A for proper hormone production and skin health. Just 2 organic pastured egg yolks a day, or even a couple ounces of beef liver once or twice a week is pretty much all that you will need. The third thing that I'd recommend trying if your acne is severe, instead of relying on the topical acne spot treatments, is try to apply a topical sulfur to the skin. So whether that's flowers of sulfur or something like an MSM powder, when applied to the skin, sulfur can leave an antiseptic or antibacterial residue on the skin that can help to rid the skin of infectious bacteria and kill off any sort of bacteria or pathogens on the skin that's attributing to the development of acne. So something as simple as a topical paste of, let's say, an MSM powder with a little baking soda left on the skin and then sort of rinsed off can be a very safe and fast way to treat acne. Again, more on the short term while you correct the underlying hormonal imbalances. The last and final thing I'm going to recommend is that you take proactive steps to improve the health of the thyroid. The thyroid plays crucial and important roles in the proper production of steroid hormones that also attribute to optimal skin wellness. And the thyroid hormone is going to directly affect the immune system of the skin, or the immune defenses of the skin, as well as the production and regulation of sebum. So this is why you see so many skin issues related to hypothyroidism. Usually under hypothyroidism, a variety of skin issues start to develop. So although everything I mentioned so far will ultimately benefit the health of the thyroid, especially lowering estrogen and prolactin, it's at least worth knowing that one of the major regulatory glands or systems of the body is the thyroid gland, and particularly the thyroid hormone and its effect on the skin tissue. So usually optimizing the functioning of the thyroid can help to correct a wide variety of symptoms, and one of the most direct ones you're going to notice is an improved skin health. So definitely utilize all of the information on our YouTube channel in regards to improving thyroid health, and also be sure to head to our blog and our online wellness academy for learning more about how to properly heal that thyroid gland. So that brings this video to a close. This is just a short list of do's and don'ts for treating acne naturally. Obviously, there's so many different other things that you can try to treat acne and remedy it. This video is just trying to take a look at some of the most driving forces and some of the more destructive or dangerous things people will often do to try to treat acne. However, that does bring this video to a close. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet already. And as always, for learning more, be sure to check out our blog, our online tonic herb shop, and our online wellness academy, all which you can find in the description box below.